Yo, what is up guys? Dubois here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, unsurprisingly, we are no closer to getting some sort of resolution in regards to the heavyweight undisputed fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. As of right now, and it's been looking like this for a long time, Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk will be fighting different opponents rather than each other. You guys know my feelings on that and who I hold responsible. I don't need to say it again. But I've seen some news on social media, rumours, I get it. But according to various rumours on socials, it looks like Oleksandr Usyk will be defending his unified titles against Daniel Dubois next. Of course, Daniel Dubois is the WBA regular champion, which means he is Oleksandr Usyk's mandatory for Usyk's WBA super title. So yeah, it looks like this is the fight we will get from Oleksandr Usyk next. And according to reports, this fight more than likely will take place in Poland, which I find quite interesting. That in itself is a big advantage to Oleksandr Usyk due to what is going on in the world right now. It's basically a home away from home for Oleksandr Usyk. There's a lot of Ukrainians in Poland right now due to the ongoing conflict, and I'm sure they're going to come out to support, especially considering the times right now. I'm sure they'll try and gravitate behind Usyk and, give him a lot of support. So, this is as close to Usyk's got as a home title defense ever since he's been a champion. And quite frankly, I don't think that's good news for Daniel Dubois. Some fighters I am very comfortable when they fight away from home. I'm convinced that it's not going to faze them. Like Oleksandr Usyk, for example, he remains the same wherever he fights, composed, relaxed, calm, professional. He won't let the crowd get to him. Whereas Daniel Dubois, I'm not convinced by Dubois' mental toughness in such a situation. Seems like a type of guy who could get easily spooked. And in a hostile atmosphere, I wonder whether that would be a negative for Dubois. And not only that, let's be honest, aside from that sort of thing, fighting away from home, Dubois is just outmatched in this fight in terms of skill, in terms of speed, both hand speed and foot speed, in terms of athleticism, in terms of experience, temperament, mentality. Aside from being taller, longer, and has a harder punch, Dubois is outmatched in every single aspect. And quite frankly, when I see the two styles, I think Dubois is somewhat made for Oleksandr Usyk. Dubois is a guy who I would say fights in predictable patterns. He kind of does the same thing over and over. Hard jab, straight right hand. Hard jab, straight right hand, left hook. Sometimes he'll throw combos to the body, left hook, right hook. Sometimes comes through the middle with an uppercut. But primarily he kind of throws the same sort of shots over and over. Not much variation in his offense. He is powerful, he is strong, but I don't think there's all that much variety to his offense or much subtlety to it. Yes, Dubois' jab is decent, it's a power jab, but again, there's no variety there. It's not like you'll see Dubois throw a quick blinding jab and throw a quick left hook behind it or a quick right hand. It's not like he feints to kind of set a trap and then he'll fire a power shot. Dubois is just kind of one of those guys who is set in his ways. He'll throw his set combinations, he'll try and walk you down, but I don't think there's a high level of boxing acumen there. Plus defensively, I find Dubois to be porous, quite frankly. I think his guard is too wide. He's open through the middle, as we saw against Joe Joyce. Joyce couldn't miss with that jab all night, and the straight punches in general. Dubois' guard is too wide, and he comes in too square. Doesn't really take his head off centre line. And when he throws combinations, he is open to get caught in the middle of his punches. And I don't think Dubois is necessarily great at punching on the front foot. He needs to set his feet to really let go of those combinations. And I see a bit of movement really troubling Dubois, and that's what Usyk brings to the table. Like Joyce gave Dubois trouble with his movement. Kevin Johnson, if you go back and watch that fight, Kevin Johnson wasn't throwing anything, but he was making Dubois miss, he was making him fall in. You know, he was being elusive, and, you know, Dubois never got close to getting rid of Kevin Johnson. Go back and watch the Kevin Lerena fight. Lerena was offering a little bit of movement out of that southpaw stance, like Usyk, and he was giving Dubois all types of trouble until he, in my opinion, took a dive in that fight, dropped Dubois numerous times, looked like he was going to win that fight, and all of a sudden, you know, he stopped fighting, which was strange, but stylistically, I think Usyk is all wrong for Dubois. Dubois hits hard, but when you look at the context of this matchup, he doesn't do much else. He's got a harder punch, and at heavyweight, I get it, anything can happen, but I just see this as a very kind style matchup for Oleksandr Usyk. Realistically, I only really see this fight going one way, and that is in favour of Oleksandr Usyk, and quite frankly, given the fragility surrounding Dubois right now, his porous defence, I actually think Usyk can force a stoppage here. I really do. But yeah, I mean, listen, disappointing that Fury versus Usyk still hasn't been signed or whatever. Still, it doesn't feel like we're any closer to that fight. But, you know, I mean, to me at least, it seems like Usyk's tried his best to make that fight. He needs to continue his career. He's got a few Mandos now. Dubois is the WBA Mando. Hrgovic is the IBF Mando. And Zhili Zhang is the WBO Mando. I know Zhili Zhang is fighting Joe Joyce again, but Usyk has Mandos and he's got fights to take now. So, yeah, I mean, this fight makes sense for Usyk. He needs to get back active, and yeah, I think this is a good stylistic matchup for Usyk, quite frankly. Dubois really doesn't have much to lose here. Quite frankly, how he's getting a title shot is beyond me. I understand he's gone through the ranking systems, but who's he beat? Who's he beat? But it is what it is. I think he'll get smoked in this fight, but I guess he's not really got much to lose because I don't see anybody picking Dubois here. Anyway, share your thoughts below. What do you make of Usyk getting back in the ring? I, for one, am pleased. Obviously, I want to see the Tyson Fury fight, but he can't just sit there with his dick in his hand. He needs to, you know, he needs to carry on with his career and get back to fighting, so it is what it is. I think what's going on here is Frank Warren basically sees Dubois as a free hit against Usyk. If Dubois could pull off the unthinkable, then he can make Dubois versus Fury for an undisputed fight. I think he more than likely sees this as a risk worth taking for Dubois. If Dubois loses, you know, it is what it is. He wasn't expected to win. But again, if he pulls off a win, then he's got an in-house heavyweight undisputed fight. So I think that's really the angle here from Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions. But anyway, share your thoughts below. I've been rambling for too long. Peace.